any child that's been abducted and by the LRA, specifically for the Organization of Invisible Children, that a lot of people in the world just don't know about. And so it's invisible just because like their government can't keep track of them, that the international community doesn't know much about the war and who these children are. Okay, so about 24 years ago, a war started in Uganda, and about 20 years ago, the rebels who were fighting in that war really lost support and lost steam, and they didn't have enough adults, they didn't have enough soldiers to continue fighting the war. So the leader of the LRA, Joseph Kony, decided to start going into rural villages that were very kind of sparse and spread out, and start abducting children from schools and houses and things like that. And so they were abducted and then taken away from their families or away from their friends, and essentially brainwashed into fighting out of fear for this rebel army. And so that rebel army has fueled its war for about 20 years just by kidnapping children and pillaging villages. Well, they come from the rural background, the farmers, the farming communities in northern Uganda, basically all from the Acholi tribe, which was a tribe that was designated by the British colonists as a farming tribe, and so they tend to live very spread out. Not a lot of them are able to afford school, and so many don't go to school, so their kids are living at home, and so that's why they're kind of easy targets to pick off, is because they're spread out, they're not near the police station, they're not near the media of that country and things like that, and so they're very easily just taken without much notice. I would say, so the main differences here are with Invisible Children and the war in Uganda, it's people are taken by force, and they're children that really have no sense of what is right and wrong. They can't fight back, and then they're brainwashed to fight just out of fear, and they really can't recuperate. Whereas human trafficking usually involves some sort of trick, some sort of promise that is made, and involves some sort of monetary debt that people are required to work off, and it's set up in such a way that they can never work off that debt, and so these people are essentially forced into modern day slavery. And so in Invisible Children, there's no promise of money, there's no promise of, it's really just based purely on threats and brainwashing and saying, if you try to escape, we'll kill your family, or things like that, which obviously young kids will respond very emotionally to, and just out of fear will choose to not escape or are afraid to escape. Human trafficking involves a lot more enforcement, uses those same elements of fear, but also the monetary and kind of contractual ways of tricking people into signing up for the situation in the first place, and then not allowing them to get out. SI's club gets involved in two ways. The main way that we get involved at SI is hopefully trying to raise awareness about the issue of the war in Uganda. And then the second way is raising money and collecting books and having fundraisers to help support the schools in Uganda, because Uganda sees that the main way that they're going to avoid this war going on for another 2 decades is if they can educate the children and make sure that those children have jobs and have security, and have educated leaders that will not overlook situations like this. And so that's mainly the two ways that we help: awareness and then fundraising to help the education system in Uganda. I got involved when I first saw the film. It's the film that made me decide to become a teacher, so that I could have more of an impact on kind of spreading the word about issues and things like that. And so Invisible Children is one of the issues that I try to help advocate for and help spread the word about. And I think that's the main way that everyone can get involved in that, is helping spread the word about Invisible Children and the war in Uganda, and really any social justice issues that are overlooked in everyday American lives, that we can just easily ignore because they're happening 1,000 miles away. really just letting people know the injustices that are happening and allowing them to take active steps in terms of getting our government involved or getting our communities involved or helping fund the efforts for justice that are occurring all over the world.